Hello, health enthusiasts, and welcome to Rev Up Health, your go-to podcast for all things wellness. I'm Dr. Mark Heckler.
And I'm Tandi Heckler. Together, we're here to fuel your health journey with the best of functional medicine and holistic well-being.
Each episode will dive deep into topics that matter to your health, bringing you the latest insights, research, and inspiring stories.
So whether you're on a quest for vibrant health or just looking for daily health tips, we've got you covered.
So let's embark on this journey together and transform the way you live.
Welcome to the Rev Up Health podcast. We are here about a week after some big travel. We'll talk about that in another podcast. But one of the things that we got to do on this big travel was devour this fantastic book.
Yes, we want everybody to go out and get this book.
Yes.
And read this book.
Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means.
Yeah, this will change your life and improve it for the better.
We have talked about her before because we really agree with everything in this book. And one of the things that's so great about this book is that she touches on our broken healthcare system, big food, big pharma, big problems. But at the same time, this book is filled with so much hope. And that's what I think is really cool.
Yeah. You don't realize how much of a hold big food and pharma have on you, as well as, your access to healthcare, what it has on you, and the effect it has on your overall general health and well-being. So that's kind of the reason why we wanted to bring this up today. So it's certainly an eye-opener for us. And we knew a lot, and unfortunately, there's so much information, it's just overwhelming. So, we talked about, how you handle these types of things. And I think you need to basically do this as just a small piece at a time and try to take off small bites instead of devouring the whole thing.
Yes, very true. So the book is called Good Energy, and it also talks about bad energy and the fact that bad energy is the reason for a lot of our health concerns that we're facing.
And, basically she mentions the trifecta of three things that are causes of bad energy. And, one of them is just mitochondrial dysfunction. Now, mitochondria are basically, they are the existence. They are the true part of existence that allow us to have all the energy and for you to live. You didn't have mitochondria that were functioning, you're not going to be alive. And every single cell in our body has mitochondria. Some just dozens, some hundreds. So it varies depending upon, the amount of energy that cell needs to produce. But when there's dysfunction, you have a lack of energy. You have a lack of production of energy. And then there's chronic inflammation. So, basically you have the mitochondria that aren't functioning well, and then you have chronic inflammation, which essentially is like all the environmental input of all the soup that we get exposed to, whether it be toxins or bad foods, et cetera. It's just an accumulation of things that cause just a chronic battle that's always going on inside our system, inside our cells, which leads to this dysfunction also. And then you have the result, which is essentially oxidative stress, which is like rusty pipes, if you will. You can think of particles that are contaminants that float around and create damage to the cells too. So that oxidative stress is certainly something that plays a big part in even something as simple as neurodegenerative problems and heart disease. That also adds to that.
Yeah. And one thing that I really thought was key is that our symptoms are our body's way of communicating to us that they aren't getting what they need at the cellular level. And that is a really great way to look at it. And so essentially all of these things, so talking about metabolic health, and that's something that I feel like we've talked about it a lot. We're hearing more about it, and the mainstream news media are starting to maybe hear about it a little bit more in healthcare. And so she's looking at some key markers. And the other great thing about this is that she really empowers the patient that they are their best tool.
You are your best ally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so she makes it really easy. She's looking at 5 biomarkers that you're going to get at your regular annual exam from any doctor that you go to. Even, your primary care doctor that doesn't practice functional medicine or integrative medicine,
And literally those 5 markers, there are only 3 of them that really are blood work. The other 2 you can do yourself at home to identify those biomarkers that are indicators of metabolic dysfunction that lead to chronic disease.
Yeah. So we're looking at triglycerides. Ideally, those are less than 80. HDL between 50 and 90. Fasting glucose, ideally between 70 and 85. And then blood pressure, less than 120 over 80. Waist circumference is the last marker, and it is less than 40 inches for men and less than 35 inches for women. So when you take those biomarkers and kind of see where you fall, if you are out of range in 3 of those, you have metabolic dysfunction. So then you get to go look and find out from your symptoms where your cells are not functioning well. And there's a huge part of this book that talks about all the ways that you can start to create good energy. And that's what is so hopeful.
Yeah. And keeping in mind that, as we've said before, and you'll continue to hear, that 93%, 92 to 93% of everybody in the United States is metabolically dysfunctional. So we have a component of metabolic dysfunction that is something that we can work on and improve to avoid or even reverse certain chronic diseases. I mean, obviously, 9 out of 10 chronic diseases are something that we can control in our own wheelhouse. So that's certainly something to remember and keep in mind.
Yeah. So when you begin to talk about food, and she eloquently talks about how changing your thought into food and your body and looking at food as the building blocks. So how does that change your thought process when you go to open up a box of Cheez-Its and that kind of energy that is putting in your body?
Yeah. How are you going to process that highly overprocessed, nutritionally depleted food to try to give your cells what they need to repair or regenerate and replace? Because, she talks about it being a process, the body's a process.
Yes.
And so, your body is continually turning over cells, which is really hard to believe. You think, well, I'm getting older, the cells are getting bigger and more mature. Yeah, they are. But you're also repairing and replacing these building blocks, and they all have function and they all have to work together. So, that's certainly something where if you're eating the right stuff, then you're giving your body the right nutrients to do that work.
Yes.
Give you the good energy.
And when you think about your body as a process, how much more hopeful is that? Knowing that what you do today can actually have an impact on your health and your body in the future. So I really love that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things besides just food, but we'll touch on that, and I'm sure we'll touch on that in many other podcasts down the line. And certainly, at this point, this book really brings it all home with the food and good energy production.
Yeah. I think that she has 3 key things to try to get out of your diet. We hate saying that word, but 3 things to take out of your diet, and that is refined sugars, refined grains, and seed oils, hydrogenated oils. Yeah. Those things are
simple,
bad things. Yeah. Well, easy, not so much.
Yes, because
it's not easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of dependencies. The brain, has been conditioned to have these dopamine rewards from having the glucose, and having the palatable foods and things that taste good. but that may not be the best nutrition for your cells. It makes your brain feel good, which you crave. And so when we have these cravings, that's certainly something that sometimes it's hard to break through those cycles. So, but these things are something that everybody can go into their pantry, you can go into their cabinets now and, look and see, okay, start reading labels. What do I have? What kind of sugars do I have in all this stuff? And sugar's in everything. So
yes. What did we were just recently cooking dinner and I took the Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
I can't even say that word, but out, and it has molasses and sugar in it listed in the ingredients. And I don't even think of that as a sweet taste to me. There's sugar in there.
I mean, do a side-by-side taste test of just peanut butter,
Oh, yeah.
Get Jif or Skippy or whatever your favorite brand of peanut butter is. Look at the back. Yes, obviously there's peanuts in there, but there is also sugar. And, then get an organic peanut butter that's made for just nuts, and there's a difference. And the people in these companies, the big food companies that make these things know that.
Yeah.
That's how they get you to have the cravings.
Yeah.
So
another great thing about this book is that it really does touch on all areas of health. So there's a lot in here about mental health and stress management, meditation,
movement,
sleep. It really touches on all different areas.
Because we, as a society, are very sedentary, and that makes a huge difference. Getting outside, getting in nature, watching the sunrise, the sunset, getting the sun on your eyes. We're so stuck on being indoors in our little controlled environments, and that doesn't really train our mitochondria to adapt or repair. They get sluggish, if you will. You can think of it that way. So it's always at 72 degrees. Well, they're always happy and comfortable. They don't have to be stressed to try to, make themselves better. And then now we start throwing bad food and bad choices, eating alcohol, etc. That these things damage the mitochondria, which damages our energy. Well, all that then leads to mental changes too. So not only from a pathologic standpoint, I mean, we have issues where, Alzheimer's as well as dementia, other dementias, but just like I said, the mental health, depression, anxiety.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your gut's very responsible for a lot of how we feel and how we act during the day. And when we're pouring this type of stuff into it, it doesn't give it a chance to make us feel better.
Yeah, one of the other interesting things, as we were reading this book, obviously we were on this big trip, and we were in a country that lives a lot differently than we do in the United States. So, well, first of all, we were jet lagged. So we were falling asleep really early and waking up with the sun and eating foods that were a lot less processed. We were moving lots, not every day, but lots of days.
Moving.
Yes. Right. I think I probably got more steps in the week.
In a day than you get in a week sometimes here. So we're so used to sitting at our desks, sitting at our desk instead of standing or moving.
Right. And we were eating a lot less sugar. It was not nearly the sugar.
Yeah, we don't have the access to all the sugary desserts too. They're being processed out there. So, the sweets basically came in the form of fruit.
So we were reading this book on this trip and kind of thinking about, she goes into, in the last part of this book, she talks about the good energy plan and how to change. And her method is to do this slowly, which is perfect because you can't make all these changes at the same time. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So it gives you bite-sized pieces and tips and tricks and things to start with. So since we've been back, we've been trying to get out in the morning and see the sunrise. So works out well that we're getting to be summertime and So it is nice, and the sun is coming up earlier.
Yeah, and it may be cool out. That's okay. Put a couple layers on and go outside. You're going to feel a lot better anyway.
Yeah. We've had some cloudy days, but I have definitely noticed a difference in my circadian rhythm just by getting out in the morning first thing, and then getting out several times throughout the day. If you can get outside for your lunch break, or, just take a quick 10-minute walk around the parking lot, some way to get some sun in your eyes throughout the day, super helpful. And I can tell it's changed my sleep because we've been doing a really good job. And then last night we had a little bit of more screen time at the end of the day, and
a bit later,
not really on the same.
It's so easy to fall off the bus.
It is. But lots of little tricks like that. Something pretty simple. And if you can just start working these things in, once a week, pick something new. And once you get that down, then, add the next thing. It's always good to add new habits in that kind of inadvertently just push bad habits out.
Yeah, you may be something as simple as trying to keep a food journal. Make yourself accountable. Write down what you're eating and help you to be a little bit more aware of what you're actually putting in your body to help refuel your cells. So.
Yes. And that actually brings me to the other thing that she talked about, which was a wearable device that will tell you how many steps you're taking. There are actually studies that have been done that show that people think they're moving a lot more than they are, which, it's good to know. And if you don't have the information, you can't change or make improvements. So it's good to have the information. So if you can get, a Fitbit or a pedometer of any kind, just to see. Her recommendation is to just get at least 7,000 steps a day. Yeah.
You get 7,000 steps a day, you're going to reduce your all-cause mortality and cardiac risk significantly. So it makes a huge difference. But, it's just a matter of, accountability. Maybe you need to have an accountability coach. Somebody that actually can, whether it be a friend or, an actual nurse coach like yourself. That someone can basically turn to, okay, well, what do I need to do? Here's what I've done today. And maybe somebody just say, okay, what have you done today? Have you done the steps? Have you gotten out? Did you get your sleep? So what are you eating? So there's a lot of things that someone else can help you if you have trouble with your own actions.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing that she does really well in the book is she talks about her own experience and how she has changed things just by having an accountability coach and checking in with, someone who's helping with that.
Right. It's like, I don't want to eat that cupcake. I'm going to have to tell Susie that I ate that cupcake last night. So, that's what happens.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we've pretty much covered everything. We won't want to give everything away because this really is a great book. It's a great resource to have available to you.
Yes,
the information
is a resource.
Yes. And the it's a really easy read. We actually kind of did a combination of reading and listening to the audiobook.
Because we were on the plane and we both had, one book.
So it's also very easy to listen to. So either way, any way you want to get it, have it.
And, if you know somebody that would benefit from it, what a good gift, get it for your spouse or, brother or sister or parents or something. So it's something that can make a statement.
Yeah, definitely so. Anyway, I think that's it for today, but we appreciate you joining us on the Rev Up Health podcast, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rev Up Health. We hope you're leaving with some valuable insights to supercharge your health journey.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe to Rev Up Health wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review.
Have a topic you want us to explore? Reach out to us on social media channels. We love hearing from our wellness community.
Until next time, keep thriving and remember, Your journey to health is a journey to a better you.
Stay well, and we'll connect with you again soon. This is Tandi.
And this is Dr. Mark, signing off from Rev Up Health. Take care.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. The content is designed to support, not replace, the relationship that exists between a patient and their healthcare provider. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your healthcare regimen, including diet, exercise, or treatment plans. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Revelation Health and Wellbeing.